Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Be sure to get your shouts out. Let me know where you're watching from. Today's topics, we'll be talking about local SEO and creating your own battle plan with our very special guest, Bradley Benner. Happy Friday, y'all. Let's see if you guys are watching. Today's topic, we'll be talking about local SEO and creating your own battle plan with our very special guest, Bradley Benner. I'm streaming live on different platforms. I want to make sure that I am okay. Okay, I'm okay on YouTube. We got the Stream Elements bot. How's everyone doing out there? It's a little quiet. Luther, hello. Whoops. If you're just tuning in, today's topic, we'll be talking about local SEO and creating your own battle plan with our very special guest, Bradley Benner of Semantic Mastery. Bradley Bernie. Hey everyone, happy Friday. Happy Friday, fellas. Fletcher. Just tuning in, we have our very special guest today, Bradley Benner from Semantic Mastery. We'll be talking about local SEO and creating your own battle plan. Carol Fry from Seattle, hello. Ernesto, what's up, Dre and Bradley from Florida? Kobe says, "What's up, Bradley?" All right, I see Bradley in the back. Hello, Bradley. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Look good, sound good. Thank you for being...
I don't know about looking good, but okay.
You do, brother. You do, brother. All right. So we got Bradley in the back. And so, Bradley, I go over like a few videos in the very beginning, about 4 videos. And then by 12:08 my time, I introduce you. And then when you kind of get into the conversation. All right. We got less than 4.5 more minutes to go, guys. If you got your... Be sure to get your shouts out. Let me know where you're watching from. Today's topic is about local SEO and creating your own battle plan with a very special guest today, Bradley Benner of Semantic Mastery. I've been following Bradley for maybe 8 years now. I've been following your YouTube. I'm a RYS member. I'm a member of your battle plan and went to POFU.
Really? Were you on one of the virtual events?
Yeah, the 2019 one.
Okay. Very cool.
So guys, be sure to get your notes and questions ready. We've got a great episode today.
Where are you located?
Out in Oakland, California. Stefan, my man. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. For those watching on other channels other than YouTube, apologies if I don't get to your question. I am trying to multitask and look at these other platforms. So if you want to get a question asked, I recommend going to YouTube and asking your questions. I can possibly see your LinkedIn one, maybe. But if you guys got questions, please go to YouTube. It'll be a lot easier, and I won't miss it. And if you're just tuning in, we got Bradley Benner as a special guest today from Semantic Mastery. And we'll be talking about local SEO and creating your own battle plan. I gotta say, the Semantic Mastery way has been part of my battle plan for years now, till this day. So let's get you guys started in creating your own battle plan. Oh,
There's
yeah.
been a lot of changes in local SEO in the last 6 or 8 months. And, so much is crazy. So I'm anxious to talk about that today.
Love it, because I know my questions that kind of lined up were kind of from the older battle plan I had. So I'm curious of what changed and what you guys are doing now.
A lot.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
You do these every Friday?
Yeah, every Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Unless if my guest is out in Asia, we do it on Thursday nights because time is just the difference, just
right
off. Yeah. For the 3 years now. My 3-year anniversary is coming up next month.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
We've been doing Hump Day Hangouts for almost 9 years now. So.
Yeah. I remember those. It was just when it was still actually Hangouts. Like it was actually the actual Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I think we're on like episode 846 now.
Woo, man.
Every week for 846 weeks.
Love it.
So yeah, keep it up, man. It's one of those things that builds momentum over time. You know?
Yeah. D Hills Sales. Hello. All right, guys, we got 30 more seconds to go. I'm going to go ahead and get things ready here. So, Bradley, I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute real quick, and I'm going to introduce you in like in about 8 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started, a self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is one of the founders of Semantic Mastery, someone I've been following for quite some time now, Bradley Benner. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see D. Hill, Stefan, Kobe, Ernesto, Carol, Bradley, Fletcher, and Kayla. Hello. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Jay, why do they call it the Mini Panda Update? Because it finds content that's a little bear. Oh!
If you noticed this past week, GSC was not updated for about 3 days. That's because Search Console Insights got an upgrade for properties not associated with Google Analytics. I mean, this includes new content performance insights such as your site's most popular and trending content on search. Google also added .ai to their list of TLDs that Google Search treats as a generic global TLD. So other domains like on this list consist of .io, .tv, and .me. I've been playing with the new Google Search generative experience, and just like feature snippets, I do see traffic dropping a little bit. I mean, Gael from Authority Hacker shares his insights on Google SGE First Impressions. Let's check this one out.
I can't look in the camera and tell you traffic's not going to drop. That's not the case. Now, Google is giving an alternative to people. Instead of going to a website, they can use the generative AI answer to get the answer to their queries. And some of that traffic that used to go to websites will use that. But I don't think it's much worse than the time when they implemented featured snippets, where we went from having 0 answers to the SERPs to quite a lot of answers added in the SERPs. And because they're implementing a 2-step process where the user can signify if they want an AI answer by either not scrolling or by clicking a generate AI answer button, I think a lot of people will still choose to go to websites when they are invested enough in a topic to know that the AI answer will not be enough for them. So I really like this kind of like subtle feedback system that the users can use to signify to Google they don't want this AI stuff. But even if traffic drops, I think SEO is not going anywhere. And the reason why is something that people often forget is that the power of SEO is not as much in the volume of traffic that it can deliver as it is in the intent of the visitors.
The new experience pulls info from Reddit and Quora as well. So like in this new carousel. So be sure to start developing your authority within those websites as in your niche. Google SGE versus Parasite SEO by Charles Floate. Let's check this one out.
So the SEO community has been worrying a lot about Google search generative experience recently. The results that basically show you what the best products are in these SERPs. But have you thought about Parasite SEO's ability in this new SGE experience? Essentially, what you're going to be able to do in the current Google landscape anyway, is be able to create pages via Parasite SEO, as SEOs have been doing for the last several decades anyway, on other websites that Google deems as trusted, that Google deems as authoritative. You can create several of these pages, get them ranking, and now suddenly your or your client's product is the #1 product that Google itself is recommending. It's no longer a user clicking on some dodgy affiliate website to be able to buy your product or see your review. It's going to be the Google logo here and your product here as #1. There's going to be no further better source of trust than that experience.
This goes back to my comment on developing your authority on Reddit and Quora and other properties, because Google is pulling from comments even on high authority blogs and review sites where Parasite SEO can actually come in. Don't rank your homepage, says Matt Diggity. Let's see why.
What you want to do is keep your homepage like a portal. Your homepage should just be a welcome mat for new visitors whose goal is to convey trust and get people to various pieces of content on your website. And it's not just me that thinks this. Think about every single major website on the internet. Do you think NerdWallet's homepage ranks for anything like personal finance? The answer is no. It only ranks for brand terms like NerdWallet. Does Victoria's Secret homepage rank for lingerie? Again, no. It's all brand terms once again. So follow the advice of an internet marketer, personal finance blog, and panty dealer and refrain from optimizing your homepage for anything but your brand. Now there's one rare exception to this, of course, and I'll get to that later, but it's rare AF. So right now what I'm going to do is give you 4 reasons why it's straight up stupid to rank your homepage.
Be sure to check out the full video so you can check out those 4 things that he talks about. But Matt Diggity will be on next week on Thursday evening because he is calling from Asia. So be sure to hit the notification bell to get that alert when we go live. What is Goose Egg SEO? Ted Kubitis shares on their 200th episode of SEO Fight Club. Let's check this one out.
What Goose Egg SEO is find the pages of your website, typically an e-com website, that do nothing organically. They're the goose eggs. And you take those pages and you set the SEO bar for those 0 pages so low that it is the minimum threshold of improvement possible. So what is the least amount of SEO you could do to a page that has nothing? And that is, you can take that page from 0 organic visits per month to 1 organic visit per month. And if you do that, let's say it's an online retailer with 5,000 SKUs, and you do that for all of their 0 pages, you have added hundreds of new customers per month into their store. And that leads to significant revenue.
I linked to the dedicated lesson on Goose Egg SEO in the description below. I mean, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions, and I'll address them in the order that they are received. Please like and subscribe and support the channel while I get things ready here. Bradley started his digital marketing career in 2010. He's a senior partner and co-founder of Semantic Mastery. He helps agency owners and SEO consultants know how to build and scale businesses through digital marketing. He teaches SEO techniques that he tried, tested, and proved to work. He is the host of Hump Day Hangouts. He is the organizer of Poo Live. Please welcome Bradley Benner. Bradley, my man, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. That was quite an introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone, let's get a round of applause. All right. I'm going to get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on board. In 1 minute or less, how does Bradley get ranking on page 1 of Google?
How do I do it? Through relevance now, primarily relevance. A lot of research and then figuring out what works, and it's all based upon relevance right now, as according to all of my testing.
Love it. First knowledge bomb of today. Let's rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us way back to when you first got into digital marketing. Like, was that 2010? Tell us that story when you first got into SEO.
I got into SEO because I had my own electrical contracting business. I was an electrician for almost 20 years. And the last 5 years that I did electrical work, I was running my own contracting business, and I was trying to generate leads for my own business. And I had been doing marketing through kind of traditional offline methods, flyer inserts in newspapers, canvassing neighborhoods, doing some direct mail, but kind of limited with that. Anyway, I wasn't generating the number of leads for my own business that I wanted to. And so I started asking some of the other contractors that I worked with, so HVAC guys, plumbers, et cetera, what they were doing, the successful contractors. And all of them had something in common, and that is they had an SEO guy doing SEO work for them. And this was back in 2010. And so I didn't have the money at the time to hire an SEO guy. So I decided to learn how to do it on my own. And I just became absolutely fascinated with it. And so I, started testing with my own site. And then I asked some of the contractors I worked with, like, hey, man, if I set up some test sites so that I can try different methods, if I start generating leads, would you want to purchase the leads? And they said yes. And that kind of sparked a lead generation business. So I really hadn't planned on doing that. It was just so that I had other test cases. But it ended up that I started making money from generating. Once I started getting good at SEO, as I was fascinated with it. And so I spent all my time when I wasn't doing electrical work, I was in front of the computer learning SEO. And so once I started generating, leads consistently for other contractors and started generating revenue. And over the course of about two years, in 2012, I finally realized, after 2 years of running both businesses, like kind of a side hustle, lead gen business plus my electrical business, I realized that I could probably make more money staying at home and not having to pull wire and climb ladders and stuff. So I went ahead and opened an agency in 2012 and started offering SEO services on a retainer-based model like most agencies do. And for about 1 year, I balanced both. And then in 2013, I dropped out of electrical work and went full-time in the SEO.
Love that. So I'm curious, you said you got fascinated by SEO. And like, what made you so interested in, what part of SEO made you so interested in it?
Being able to manipulate search results. I found is the cat and mouse game that we play with Google that I always found, incredibly challenging and fun, because it's rewarding when you stumble across a method that gets results and you're able to, the value, we all know the value of being able to rank in Google for search queries. And so, finding and discovering those methods that force that to happen or cause that to happen, to me, is just very exciting. And it still is to this day. It's a hell of a lot more complicated now than it was then, but it's still just as exciting.
So you mentioned that you did a lot of testing. How else were you learning SEO? What kind was your learning process back then?
My learning process was my biggest mentor, and to this day, I still credit him with being the most influential on my career, was Ivan Budimir. I don't know if you're familiar with the name, but he was an SEO guy that did local he was kind of partnered with Michael Taggart, or Michael X, a lot of people call him, way back when, and they had a program called Maps Magic. Okay. And Ivan Budimir was the trainer for that. And every single Friday, he would do like a 90-minute to 2-hour webinar, and it was all about local SEO. And the guy was a savant. He was unbelievable. I learned more from him than anybody else in this industry, and that is not a joke. Don't get me wrong. I owe a lot of my success to a lot of people in this industry, so I don't want to discredit or discount anybody. But Ivan Budimir had the biggest influence on my career. And for about 2, maybe even 2.5 years. And then he kind of bowed out of the SEO industry, which I always thought was odd. I always wondered what happened to him, but Ivan Budimir had the biggest influence on my local SEO career.
Love that. So, were there any other resources? Were you looking, did you just really pay attention to just Ivan, or were you visiting websites or anything like that? Because I know forums were pretty popular back then.
Great question. So of course I joined several different forums. You had on one of the pre-videos, Charles Floate, the SEO god, a god of SEO. Yeah. So way back when I studied some of his stuff. Believe it or not, Alex Becker, he had what was called Source Dynasty, which was kind of like a mastermind that was supposed to be an SEO mastermind. And that's how I got introduced to my partners at Semantic Mastery, is we all joined the SEO Dynasty group together. Okay. And throughout that process, I started a weekly accountability group in 2013 for Dynasty members, for us just to meet on a weekly basis and discuss what was working, what doesn't work, wins and losses and that kind of stuff, and just share information. And it turned out that we ended up building a following. There was about 5 to 10 of us that would consistently show up every week and contribute to the discussion. But we started to gain a following of people that would just show up and glean or lurk and glean information, but not really participate. And after and Alex Becker was charging us $199 a month to be part of this forum and this mastermind. And yet we were doing this free weekly event that started to gain a following. And so after about 3 or 4 months of doing that, I talked to the people that were contributing on a weekly basis, said, guys, why don't we monetize this? Like if Alex Becker can do it and he's only doing 1 webinar a month and we're doing 4 a month and we got an audience, why aren't we monetizing this? So I said, let's start a company. And that's where Semantic Mastery came from.
Love it. That was my next question. So Semantic Mastery, it actually spawned into more than just, that mastermind group, because you started doing services and stuff like that and some courses. I mean, can you like walk us through like where Semantic Mastery is now from when it started?
Yeah, when we first started, as I was just describing, we actually tried to start as what was called a business co-op. And there was about 10 of us. And that was just too many Indians and not enough chiefs, so to speak. There was really one neck to choke, one neck to choke. So there was not really any one leader. It was like all of us. And so we were too scattered, and it was cumbersome and just messy. And so we got smart after trying to make that work for a couple of months, and we consolidated down to about 6 of us. And then eventually we had one female, Lauren, and she was in, I think, Nashville, and she ended up kind of bowing out, and it left the 5 of us, which became Semantic Mastery when we actually formed the LLC and eventually a corporation. That was for me and my 4 other partners, which, again, we were still a little bit scattered because I focused mainly on local. My partner, Marco, who was the other kind of SEO guy of the 5 of us, like that. And he's also kind of a guy that helps develop like processes and things like that. So interestingly enough, for several years, we've been successful together as all 5 of us, but we didn't have a cohesive message because we were kind of spread too thin across different parts of digital marketing. And so we kind of hit a plateau with growth in Semantic Mastery for a period of several years where we kind of plateaued, and we just maintained a particular level. And it was interesting, but Hernan was the first one to decide to bow out so that he could focus entirely on his media buying agency. And so that was in 2019 or anyways, 2019 or something like that is when he bowed out. And then about 6 months later, Marco decided that he wanted to go off on his own with Rob Beal to create the Heavy Hitter Club, to go into just purely technical SEO stuff. And then they do a lot of schema stuff and everything else. And so he broke off and went off with Rob Beal and started the Heavy Hitter. Well, they didn't start it, but they went fully into that because they were kind of doing that alongside of Semantic Mastery for a period of a year or two. So it consolidated down to just me and Chris and Adam, and I got to take the company back, Semantic Mastery, back into the direction that I wanted to, which is 100% local SEO. And that's all we teach now is local SEO. And since then, since we've kind of consolidated our messages and now we're all on the same page, my other 2 partners, Adam and Chris, fully support me in the direction that I want to take Semantic Mastery. We've seen incredible growth. We've almost tripled our growth as far as our membership and everything else in the last 2.5 years since we've consolidated onto local SEO. So we've hit our stride.
Love that, which takes us to our next topic of the day, local SEO. So one of the things that you guys, Semantic Mastery has put out there was a battle plan, which I was able to, I got into the battle plan and actually incorporated it into my own SEO recipe and battle plan myself. And so that's something I want to kind of talk about today. And you mentioned earlier before the show, like it's been updated since then, but I would love to start, kind of like really, really getting into how you're doing local SEO. You teach this every Wednesday. I mean, I've shared tips here on the show and clips on the show, and I would love to kind of package it for our audience today of like kind of like from the beginning of like how even it goes to like even picking like your local vertical. I mean, you recommend doing this. I mean, like why should we pick our local vertical when coming to
great question? Yeah. I love that question, by the way, because I've been doing SEO for almost 15 years, and since really 2009 is when I first started kind of dabbling, and 2010 is when I really got into it heavy. So 13 years and also as a coach, I've been coaching now since 2014 and teaching local SEO. And I see the same. And by the way, I'm not immune to any of this, guys. I've been through all of this myself personally. So I can speak from experience and knowledge and wisdom now from being in this industry as long as I have. And also because, like I said, I coach so many people and I hear the same struggles from new members. So for our mastermind, every time a new member joins, they get a 30-minute one-on-one call with me. And so I get to ask questions like, what are you struggling with in your business? Where are you at? What are your goals? What are your challenges, et cetera? And I hear the same thing over and over and over again. And so one of those is the enormous amount of work that goes into researching a niche, an industry, and learning all that there is. To be effective as an SEO in a particular industry, you really have to get to know the industry well, because SEO is just a technical thing, but we have to understand marketing too. So we got to understand not just the technical aspect, but what moves the needle, what compels people to take action, right? And so it's really important to understand the industries that we're going to be doing SEO work in, so that we can, and here's the thing, it's an enormous amount of work, because we all know it as SEOs, we got to do keyword research, right? So we always start there, but remember, there's 2 levels of vocabulary that we have to learn for every industry. First, we have to learn how to speak to the business owner in that industry. What moves them? What are their pain points, their triggers, right? What is important? What are their motivators? And we have to understand all of that at the business owner level. But then if we're going to be providing SEO services to that particular industry, we also have to understand what triggers or compels the consumer of that business to take action. We have to understand their vocabulary. What are they searching for? What are their pain points? So we have to learn 2 levels of vocabulary and all of the words, keywords associated with that. And we have to understand the marketing, and we have to dial that message in, both our pitch to the business owners for our services. Like, first we have to dial in our pitch on how to sell our services and our expertise to that particular type of business. But also we have to then recognize and understand how we can be effective for that type of business, for the consumer to take action and to get results for the business. And so it's an enormous amount of work every time. And I know from experience and from this industry that most everybody comes into this industry, and first of all, I think it's backwards. People think all I got to do is learn how to rank stuff and I'm going to make money in this industry. BS. There are a lot of hungry SEOs out there. There are a lot of SEOs out there that are skilled and can rank stuff that don't really make any good money from it. And there's a number of reasons for that. So, but the other thing is, number one, I hear that, not making a lot of money. People are trying to learn the technical aspects of SEO before learning the marketing and learning how to sell it. The revenue is made on the sale. The fulfillment is necessary, yes, but you don't make money learning how to rank stuff. You make money selling that ability. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The point is, like, after myself going through many different years of running my SEO agency and also lead gen, I would attack any lead gen industry where I thought there was opportunity. So then I'd have to go through all of that research again and try to learn all that stuff. And it ends up being where you spending all your time doing research and research and research and research. You're always preparing, right? You're always preparing, but it never get to the point where it's producing fruit or revenue, right? And so at least that was my experience. And that's what I hear a lot from my coaching students. And so over the years, one of my biggest kind of most lucrative lead generation business or industry that I worked in for leads, because I generated leads for all kinds of industries over the years, but tree services tree service contractors ended up being the ones that consistently produced the most revenue for lead gen assets for me was tree guys. So for years, I focused mostly on tree service industries and home service contractors. As I mentioned before, as a former electrical contractor myself, I can speak to contractors, right? I know them. I know their businesses. So I mainly focused on the home services industries, but over time, recognizing that tree services were my most lucrative lead gen assets, I decided in 2019 to focus entirely on just tree service SEO and tree service contractors. And so I reorganized my agency. I got a DBA, a doing business as, fictitious name called Tree Care HQ for like Tree Care headquarters. So Tree Care HQ. And I reorganized my agency to only work with tree service contractors. And all of a sudden my agency just exploded. Like, I was able to scale it very quickly and easily because I know the tree service industry well. I've been doing it for years. Now I don't have any more keyword research to do. I know which creatives convert. I know how to pitch to tree service guys. I know how to close them. I know how to get results for the consumers looking for tree services. Once you understand and you kind of develop and dial in a marketing and SEO campaign that works, you can scale by duplicating it in different locations. It's the same stuff, same keywords, same topic, same triggers, same creatives. All of that works. You just change out the locations. And so for me, like, teaching people how to start like focusing on a particular industry that and I also recommend having a genuine interest in it because it makes it feel less like work. I honestly don't give a damn about tree service work. I really don't. It just happened to be very lucrative for me. And so that's what keeps me motivated and interested in it. But if you have the opportunity, if you're exploring industries to pursue or to enter, I always recommend trying to find an industry and proving it's viable, but trying to find an industry that you have a genuine interest in, because then it feels less like work.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Damn! Man, what an answer on picking your vertical, guys. Be sure to absorb that, rewatch that. So I want to get a little more tactical here. So like when we go in, once we get our niche, our vertical that we want to go in, I mean, the first thing to do is like get a domain, right? And get a domain for yourself. I mean, or even pick. So I mean, what's your advice on like your picking domains?
Pick something brandable. Not an exact match keyword domain. You can still get results with that. I get it, but we're in the semantic web, man. It's about creating a brand and establishing a local entity and building authority to that. And it's so much easier to get results when you have a unique brandable name. It can have partial match keywords in it and all that. That's fine. But have a unique and brandable name, because then it can be recognized and established as an entity very easily, compared to trying to optimize for a generic search term and create a brand out of a generic search term. It's very difficult to have that recognized. It's not that you can't get it recognized as a local entity. You can, but it takes an enormous amount of work because you're trying to overcome generic keyword searches. So Google has to understand what the intent is. And it's very difficult for Google to understand that when a brand name is a generic search query, right?
Yep.
So use a brandable name in the semantic web. It's absolutely critical, in my opinion, to create a brand and something that you can establish as an entity very quickly. Once you do that, it's much easier to start getting results with SEO.
Love that. So next on the list, that we need to do keyword research, right? So how are you doing keyword research? I mean, because you mentioned that you do your research once and then all you have to do is really replace your locations. Like, what's kind of your methodology on doing keyword research for local?
Well, that's evolved a lot in the last year, 8 months or so, really, because Google's algorithm has really shifted away from keywords to topics or entities, and it's very, very clear. Across there's a number of indicators that show that, right? Or they very clearly show that. And that is, like, for example, even Google Ads. I know this is an SEO show, but where I started to first identify that the Google algorithm had shifted so much, like it's almost unrecognizable for us old heads that have been doing SEO for a long minute. We've always optimized for keywords, and now we really should be optimizing for topics or entities is another. I like to talk about it on a topic term because it seems a little bit more easier for people to wrap their heads around. But if we optimize for a topic, we can rank for all the keyword. We can rank one page for all the keywords associated with that topic, right? So if we optimize for the topic and not keywords, if you optimize for keywords, you kind of pigeonhole the ability for a particular page to only rank for that particular search query and or close variants of that particular keyword. And I'm getting back to the Google Ads. I just said a key term here, close variants. That is how I started to discover that the algorithm had shifted away from keywords to topics, topic-based type of an algorithm. And that is because if you run Google search ads for any local clients, one of the things that we've done for years is we create what's called a single keyword ad group or a SCAG. And we use an exact match or square brackets around the search query. And we tell Google, like, we only want our ad to show for this very specific search query. No deviations, nothing prepended or appended to it, nothing in between. It's this keyword and this keyword only, this search query and this search query only, except for Google would show that ad for what they called close variants of that particular search query. So what does that mean? For in my industry, tree service, that would be the difference between tree service and tree services, singular and plural. Right? Google would show our ad if I had tree service exact match type and I single keyword ad group. Google would show my ad for both tree service and tree services, but nothing else. Well, or sometime around October is when I started to really notice that my single keyword ad groups in Google Ads, like all of a sudden was getting impressions for tree service, tree services, tree cutting, tree trimming, tree removal, tree pruning, like all these different kind of keywords that before would only if I was using modified broad match or something like that, would all of those different keywords appear in the same ad campaign. So I started trying to figure out, like, if Google's ads platform is no longer honoring the exact match type, there's got to be a reason for it, because that's their moneymaker, right?
Yeah.
And so I started looking, and across the board, I started seeing signs that the algorithm had shifted from keywords to topic optimization instead. And so, you know, with keyword research now, I've really shifted away from researching individual keywords, and instead I research at a topic level to get the corpus of all the keywords associated with that topic. And then what we're trying to do is really optimize for the top level topic terms so that we can consolidate or reduce the number of pages needed in order to achieve the ranking result. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Excellent!
So that kind of brings me to my next question then. Like, how are you finding topics? I mean, are you still kind of doing the Google ads kind of like kind of from that portion, like testing there?
Good question.
Yeah.
No. So one of the ways is Wikipedia is a great way to look for topic terms, because Wikipedia, like the Google, natural language, the language model of Google has been trained on many different semantic databases, but Wikipedia being one of the largest of them, one of the most influential. And so therefore looking at Wikipedia entities and how topics are described and entities are described in Wikipedia. Another one, to kind of give you another example, is looking at, again, I'm local, right? I do all local stuff. Looking at Google business categories, looking at categories, the category titles, the way that they are capitalized, and in researching those, and you start to determine from those are kind of categories are in case they're almost like topics. Okay. Again, look at capitalization, right? They're not all the first letter of every word is capitalized. If it was, that would be a keyword, a key phrase. But a topic, look at like tree service. The tree service Google business category is capital T, little s, right? Go look at Google business categories, guys. Every one of you doing local, look at Google business categories. Those are topic terms. They're not keywords. They're topic terms. So that's a good starting point. So in my case, like in the tree service industry, what I started to do, and I do this manually, and because again, the beautiful thing about single industry is you can do some of these things manually. You don't need automation and tools to do it. And I literally wanted to see visually with my own eyes which keywords were associated with topics, okay, with the different topics associated with tree services. And so one of the ways you can do it is go to Google and look for tree service and Wikipedia. Like that's the search query, and it's going to show you in Google search results all the Wikipedia entities that are relevant to tree service. And you can do the same thing with tree pruning and tree removal and etc. And you start to identify and extract the different Wikipedia entities that are associated with those Google business categories, right? And then you can start to drill into those a little bit deeper too. So what I mean by that is it's interesting, but if you go to Google and you do a search for a particular search query, everyone here I'm sure already knows, if you go scan through the search results, you're going to see bolded keywords that are synonymous with the seed term, right? Whatever search query it is that you entered, Google in the search results will bold those keywords that are considered are synonymous or relevant to that particular search query. And so with what I'm talking about here is, like, for example, if I put tree service into the search results and I start scanning through the results, or excuse me, into Google, and start scanning through the results and pulling out and extracting the phrases that are bolded, then I can build the kind of which keywords are associated with this topic, right? And so this is one way that you can do this. Just take a spreadsheet, Google Sheet, whatever, and put the seed term at the top, and then all of the associated keywords in the search results in the same column below it, right? Then you do that with the next one and the next one. And what's really interesting, Andre, is I found that and this is what I really like about kind of how the algorithm has shifted from keywords to topics, is I discovered an opportunity. Any of you on this call or that watch the replay that are in the tree service industry or have clients in the tree service industry, here's a tip. The broadest topic coverage term that you can optimize for, and I just discovered this in the last 8 months since my methodology shift from keywords to topics, was that tree maintenance, capital T, little m, is the broadest topic coverage. It has almost 5 times the topic coverage, meaning the amount of keywords that I can rank one page for that's optimized for tree maintenance. I can rank that page for 5 times as many keywords as I can for tree service. So what I'm saying by that is if I take a page and I optimize it for tree maintenance, I can rank for tree service, tree cutting, tree trimming, tree removal, tree pruning, tree felling, stump grinding, land clearing. I mean, like arborist consulting, I can rank for every single one of those terms with one page optimized for tree maintenance. So that's what I call a topic term that has the broadest coverage. And so there's a strategy for optimizing both for the top level Google business categories when a Google business profile is associated with the project, and also optimizing for the broadest topic terms for the organic pages that don't fall within the Google business profile kind of maps coverage area. So for example, with the tree service business, they generally cover very large service areas, but as we all know, Google business proximity or maps coverage has been narrowed considerably over the last year and a half, considerably. So where a tree service contractor used to be able to rank in maps for 3 or 4 counties, they can only now rank in a much smaller kind of radius. But we can still optimize organic pages, geo posts, whatever you want to call them, for the top level topic terms and get results in all those other areas. So in other words, if I'm trying to rank Google business profiles, I'm going to optimize for the top level Google business category. If I'm optimizing for organic search only, I'm going to optimize for the top level topic term. Does that make sense?
Oh, guys, man, a lot of knowledge bombs packed into just that one segment on keyword research. Love it. I mean, so when you go after, once you got keyword research, you got to create the content, right? So you talk about creating these pillars, like this one content. How are you creating content? Are you just going for that topic, like of the maintenance and just creating a topic for that? Or are you still kind of going towards, and how are you kind of creating your content right now?
Great question again. And, beautiful. Well, number one, I use ZimWriter. ZimWriter is fabulous. Anybody's not using ZimWriter, go check it out. It's really, really good. But I use that. And again, back to what I was saying, single industry, I know the industry so well. So it's the tree service industry is great because all services under tree service are all synonymous with each other. So what I mean by that is I can optimize the one page. So I can rank one page websites in the tree service industry all day long. No kidding. And when I say one page, I mean it's the home page that's optimized for all the services that tree services do. And then there's the standard contact about privacy pages. But I mean one page sites, I can rank those all day long in the tree service industry because all of the services that tree service contractors provide are all synonymous with tree service or tree maintenance. Yeah. Unlike with a plumber or an HVAC contractor that oftentimes does plumbing, electrical, HVAC, et cetera, you have to really have separate categories, right? Yeah. Silos on the site. And you have to build that into the site structure and all of that in order for it to be, the hierarchy to be very logical for the Googlebot as well as users. Yep. But in the tree service industry, fortunately, they're all synonymous with each other. So if I optimize for tree service or tree maintenance as the top level term, I can basically list tree trimming, stump grinding, land clearing, arborist consulting, all those kind of paid services on the same page. And I can rank that page. So, in the tree service industry, like I said, for content, I've learned that there pretty much are, I can produce my tree service sites in a templated fashion using the same keywords every time. As I mentioned before, if it's got a Google business profile associated with it, I'm going to optimize the SEO title. And so the first kind of keyword is tree service plus location modifier. Yeah. If it's an organic property or a page that I'm trying to rank for organic only, then I'm going to optimize it for tree maintenance. But then I'm going to have the main services that are for tree service industry. It's tree trimming, tree removal, stump grinding, land clearing, arborist consulting, and then kind of a distant third would be like emergency services, or tree care is also another term that's synonymous with those. So basically all of my pages have the SEO title and then 6 H2s. And I can rank those over and over and over again in every different location because they're all those services are synonymous with tree service or tree maintenance. And those are the primary services that generate, again, guys, that's what I say about single industry. When you learn a particular niche, as well as I know the tree service industry, you can figure out these things. And then it's so scalable because I know I can build one page websites literally that have 8 SEO titles, 6 H2s, a couple of paragraphs per, and then do all of the optimization stuff that I do. And I can rank that.
Love that. That brings me to my next question on actually on-site SEO, the on-page stuff, because you talk about like your H1s and your H2s. Are you using any like software, or do you just kind of do it on your own? You kind of how are you optimizing your pages? Are you using schema or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't do any real advanced schema. I really don't have to for the tree service industry for the most part. So I do fairly basic schema. We'll do local business schema with the, most appropriate type. And occasionally, if it's a little bit of a bigger site, and in some cases with multi-location sites and stuff, we'll do some more advanced schema. But mostly it's just, here's a little bit off of what you asked, but this is what I found in the last 8 months, like I said, since the shift, and I've really been able to kind of understand and identify the shift from keywords to topics, right? Is that structure is more important than content right now. And what I mean by that is there are two kind of structural things that we should be paying attention to in SEO. And that is, number one, the page structure itself. Okay. And then number two is site structure. And then content is kind of a third. What I mean by that is structure is more important than the content itself, in that if a page is structured properly and optimized properly, then its chances of ranking now are so much greater than even if it has thin content. So a page that is structured well, and what I mean by that is the SEO type, well, the URL, that's the first thing the Googlebot sees is the URL. That's how it finds the page. So you got the URL, then you got the SEO title, meta title, then you have the page title, so the H1, and then the remaining headings, which are also titles, right? So you H2s are subheadings, H3s are so H1 is a page title, H2 is a heading, H3 is a subheading. Those are all titles. Then there's media, right? And media is another way to inject relevance to a page. So structure of a page, if you have two similarly optimized sites on a site structure level, and you're comparing two pages, one has really good content but poor structure, and the other has really good structure but poor content, the page with the better structure is going to outrank the page with the poor structure but good content, or optimized content. And that's what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be permanent, but what I've seen over the last several months is that is indeed the truth right now. It's likely going to change. But where I see content coming into play now is when there are similarly optimized sites that have structure that is well done, right? Well-built structure. And so there's page level structure, because that's where we always start, right? Google doesn't rank websites. Google ranks web pages. But a site's structure and authority has a significant influence on a page's ability to rank. So what I'm saying is, if you have a really well-structured page, but the site structure, the entire site structure is poor, it's going to affect that page's ability to rank. Alternatively, or conversely, if you have a page that is structured well and a site that is also structured well, then it has a greater chance of rank. The page has a greater chance of ranking because Google understands the site and the content of the site so much better. We all know that Google has throttled crawl budget considerably because of the explosion of content on the web. That the servers just can't keep up with everything. So it's in our best interest to reduce resistance for crawling. So if we structure pages properly and also structure sites properly, the architecture of the site, then it makes the Google bots easier and more efficient of crawling. And that's what we want. We want to reduce resistance for Google to be able to crawl and understand what the site is about, including even a page, right? So it's important to have page structure and site structure, and content is kind of a distant third to those two.
Man, Chris Rice, what's boom? Love that. So, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them in the live chat. I have a few more here, so be sure to get them ready and tee them up. And I want to get into kind of more of the off-page stuff. Let's talk about properties, because you actually talk about this. We've been talking about sites, right? How about your Google business profiles? That's very important when it comes to local SEO. And when you said, so we definitely have got to create a Google business profile. So, what are you doing on the Google business profile to optimize those?
Well, fill them out completely. Use the Google business website, guys. I can't tell you how many SEOs come to me for white label services or whatever, and they submit their details for their local projects, and they don't have the Google business website published. That's that free website you can publish as part of the Google business profile. If it's not used properly, it's ineffective. But if you use it properly, it can be incredibly effective. Guys, it's a Google property. Use Google properties. You mentioned RYS earlier, Andre. So the power of Google. Trust Google. Google is not going to penalize itself. You can use Google to reinforce or corroborate data. I want to talk about something briefly. We'll come back to the Google business profile in a second, but there's three big levers that we should be pulling to optimize for the semantic web. Number one is entity association, or forcing Google to recognize associations between entities. Number 2 is relevance. And number 3 is corroboration or data validation, right? Those are the 3 things. Like, it's like the trifecta. One feeds the other, and they constantly feed each other, right? Entity association, relevance, corroboration, or data validation. Mm-hmm. So reinforcing data. And so why I bring that up is because Google gives us tools. We should be using every one of the tools that Google gives us. And one of those is the Google Business Profile website, or the GB website, okay? Mm-hmm. If you guys have ever published any one of those, you know that when you create a Google Business Profile, you don't have any control over the SEO title of the map. The map is going to be the brand name separator, which is a hyphen, and then it says Google Maps. Yep. We don't have any control over that. If you publish a Google Business website, the first part of the SEO title is the brand name. We don't have any control over that. It's the same as the Google Business map, the profile. It's the same name, okay? Then it's a separator, and then we have some control over what they call the summary header. That's the second part of the SEO title. In that when we go to complete that summary header, there's helper text in the Google Business website editor. And it says, for best results, use, and it gives you the Google Business category. So like in tree service industry, it says for best results, be sure to include tree service, capital T, little s. I just talked about optimizing for topics versus entities, or optimizing for Google Business categories versus, optimizing for topics instead of keywords, or optimizing for Google Business categories instead of keywords. So when Google tells us, first of all, Google is giving us clues, guys, on how to optimize through its own helper text and through its own assets. If it's good enough for Google, it should be good enough for us. And if Google has the brand name as the first part of the SEO title for the Google Business Profile, the map, and if Google forces us to have the brand name as the first part of the SEO title for the Google Business website, and it tells us in the helper text, for best results, be sure to include the Google Business category with proper capitalization, so capital T, little s, then we should be, so what are we doing here? By the way, I talked about the 3 levers, entity association, relevance, corroboration. First of all, Google is telling us that it is corroborating its own data about our brand, about our local entity. It corroborates its own data about the brand via the Google Business Profile map and the Google Business website by always forcing the brand name as the first part of the SEO title. We should be taking clues from that for our own projects, meaning our money sites. We should always be appending, or at least including, but I always like to append, so at the end of the SEO title, the brand name. What is that first lever we pull? Entity association. So if we always include our brand name alongside our top level products and service terms and our top level location modifiers, we are forcing Google to recognize associations between our brand, our local entity, and those top level products and services and those locations. So we're forcing entity association through corroborating data, and it's all relevant. So again, it's those 3 things that we're constantly reinforcing. Is that clear?
Very clear, but I gotta rewatch that and re-listen to it. But at the same time, it makes sense because also, I mean, this is like one of the things where I caught something here because you mentioned actually for categories capitalizing the T and lower S, like, or when you mention it, put capital like T for tree, and then services like is that kind of, is it very important? You're talking about it right there, like really paying attention to that.
Yeah, because that's like, look at any one of you guys doing local, just go look at the Google Business categories. Look at how they're capitalized. That's different, right? It's not the same as capitalizing the first letter of every word. It changes the meaning, right? From keywords to topic, right? Or in this case, keyword to category. That's the difference. And so if the Google Business categories are capitalized the way that they are, and Google tells us in the Google Business Profile website editor, when we go to create that summary header, and it has the helper text, and it tells us for best results include, and it gives us the Google Business category in that proper capitalized case format. Google is telling us, corroborate this data. It's telling us this is important to us, important for optimization. And I used to ignore that. But because again, it didn't really matter when it was still keyword based, but now that it's kind of gone to topic based, and it's really important to those little kind of tiny changes. Those are nuances that make a significant difference. And so that's why I'm saying, like, again, my strategy changes how I'm going to optimize the money site depending on whether there's a Google Business Profile associated with it or not. If there is, I'm going to optimize for tree service, capital T, little s, because that's the Google Business category. If I'm going to optimize for organic only, I'm going to optimize for tree maintenance, capital T, little m, because that's the broadest topic term, so that I can rank that particular page for dozens and dozens of keywords associated with the tree service industry. So that's why I said, like, going back to the Google Business Profile, number one, always complete it to its entirety. Publish the Google business website. Make sure that you're using, you're corroborating data, information across all of what I call the 3 tier 0 assets. The money site or the self-hosted website is the organic side of the local entity.
Okay.
The Google Maps profile the Google business profile is the maps side of the local entity. The Google business website is a bridge that connects organic to maps. And so what I'm saying is it's really important to not miss that component. That Google business asset or website is a Google asset that the Google bot crawls, I guarantee you. And so if you use that to help with discoverability about improving, remember, Google creates a knowledge graph for entities and let's talk about this on a local entity scale. When you create a brand and verify it with Google business profile, you've created a local entity. Now, that's like taking a jigsaw puzzle and dumping it out on the table. You've got all these bits of data that are like a jigsaw puzzle. Until you start to organize the pieces and start to assemble them, you can't tell what the picture is, what the image is. That's like a new local entity. Google knows that it's there, but it's up to us. And kind of the more natural progression is people just start to do things on the web, and it's up to Google to go find all these little bits of data and start to try to organize them and put them together into a knowledge graph for that local entity and create an image, a recognizable image of that brand, if that makes sense.
Yep.
We can help with discoverability, and we can help inform the knowledge graph by helping Google to find and discover all these bits of data that are associated with our brand, our local entity, so that it can assemble them and create a sharper image of our brand, right? A clearer picture of our brand. The Google business website is one of the most critical places that you can do that because it's a Google property. So if you flesh out the content body, which is it can hold roughly 2,500 words of content with thoroughly optimized content that describes all the products and services that the company provides, as well as the areas that it services for local. And then link out with contextual links to the branded entity assets and supporting assets where appropriate. Then the Google bot's going to crawl that. It's going to spider those links out and start to say, oh, okay, that's this brand here and here and here, and start to pull that into the knowledge graph and form a sharper image, essentially building authority to that local entity. You start to do that with Google properties. We talked about the Google business website. You can do it with G Sites, G Sheets, Blogger, any kind of Google property, period, guys. YouTube, all of these, you tie all that stuff together and interlink to other branded entity assets to help inform the knowledge graph and expand the entity footprint. It's really important.
Love that. And that kind of goes to my last, we're coming close to time here, but I wanted to conclude this with the last portion of your battle plan, which is kind of the backlinks and offsite SEO. You talk about embeds, citations. What's the importance of this? How are you doing this now? Are you still doing in these embeds, and where are you getting the embeds? Where are you embedding the stuff and getting these citations?
Well, good question. My link building has evolved considerably in the last year and a half. I don't do bulk spam at all anymore. We used to. We used to spam the hell out of everything, like kitchen sink spam at everything. But never to the money site, but Google Assets, we would crush it. G Sites, everything, all that. We would just spam the hell out of it. I don't do that at all anymore. I don't use bulk spam at all because there's no relevance. We're in the semantic web. If a link doesn't have relevance, it's ignored by Google. So why bother? Yeah, you can have page level relevance with spam links. I get it, but there's very, very rarely is there domain level relevance. And you had Eric Lancheras on your show before because I watched the interview that you had. And Eric's a mentor of mine, has been for many years. I highly respect him. And his on-page AI tool is what I use in my link building business because we always match relevance. We always do relevance matching from the target to the referring page and the referring domain. We want 100% relevance match at all 3 locations. So bulk spam, you don't get that. So we build links with intent now. We build links we have 100% relevance matching, either topical relevance matching, which matters for organic ranking, or geographic or location relevance matching, which matters for ranking in maps. Or sometimes, very rarely, you can get what I call a unicorn link, which has both topical relevance and geographic relevance.
Okay.
But that's what, so we focus not on quantity anymore, but on quality and 100% on relevance. I don't give a damn about Ahrefs metrics or Moz's metrics until and unless I can prove that link source has relevance. If it has relevance, then those metrics become important. So in other words, if I'm weighing 2 different link sources and and I can prove that both of them are relevant, fully relevant to what I need them to be, then those are secondary metrics that I will look at. Out of those two sources, the one that has the higher DR or whatever, that's likely going to be the one that I would select. But I don't even look at those metrics until I can prove that the link sources are relevant. So relevance matters, guys, and for organic, topical relevance matters for organic ranking and has a slight influence on maps ranking. For maps ranking, local or geographically relevant links have a significant effect and a small effect on organic. So the idea is to try to balance, strike a balance between topic links and geographic links.
Love that, love that. We're out of time right now. I mean, that flew by so quickly. So many knowledge bombs that went on here, guys. I mean, so this is the last question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. If someone wants to get into the SEO game, get in the SEO industry, become an SEO consultant, SEO professional, whatever that is, what would your one piece of advice be to them?
Learn a particular market and the demands and needs of that market, and learn how to sell SEO first. There are a lot of SEOs out there that can get results, but they have an aversion to selling, or they're scared of it or whatever. So learn how to sell it, and you can always outsource or partner with a skilled SEO. But man, you make the money in the sale, the fulfillment will be taken care of.
Love that, love that. So I mean, for this episode to feel complete for you, please, how can people get a hold of you? How can people get into you? I know you offer like link services too, like local link services. Please, like share how we can get a hold of you.
Well, thank you. Number one, our Hump Day Hangouts, which, like I said, we've been almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years this year. We've been doing that every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. You guys can check it out. Go to youtube.com/Semantic Mastery. It's 100% free every single week, Wednesday, 1 hour Q&A show. Okay, so you're welcome to join that. Semantic Mastery, come to the Hump Day Hangouts and you can ask questions. You can pre-post questions ahead of time in case you can't make it live. We're happy to answer questions there. Link building services, you can go to semanticlinks.io. If you're curious about that, we have done for you like managed link building services based 100% on relevance and relevance only. But we also have some one-off services, so you can do kind of more self-service stuff. But between Semantic Mastery and our coaching and our Hump Day Hangouts and then Semantic Links, we can help you to get results for local for sure.
Love it, love it. Chris Rice has great interview. Thanks for sharing your insights and definitely worth a rewatch. All right, guys, give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, man. Can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off real quick? Just one quick second. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO Video Show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!